Hello, welcome to this special multiplayergames.com video. What you see in front of you is the lifespan of GamePro magazine, the original issue here from 1989 and the final issue here, which you can currently purchase in stores. This is the winter 2011 issue. GamePro was going to go quarterly as sort of a last second desperate move to save the magazine, but all was lost unfortunately, and GamePro is no longer with us. But we're here to look back, not look what could have been. So we're going to take a trip through the very first issue of GamePro magazine. Atari was still in full swing. The 7800 was still going strong. Even the 2600 in some cases. So we're going way back here. On the back is a great ad for Toys R Us and the NES, because of course Toys R Us had the best prices ever, apparently. I don't know. As we open up to the first page, we get plenty of ads. You're going to have some overhead lighting here, sorry about that. And an ad for Bubble Bobble. Power Glove advertisements, of course, not as cool as advertised, but there is a special feature on the Power Glove here, which we will get to in a minute. Welcome to GamePro. GamePro's first ever editor was Don Farrell. I'm not sure if he's still around or not. I can certainly do some research, though, and find out. There's a great ad here for the Atari Advantage. You can get a 7000 for only $60. It's a great deal, or only $40 if you want to go for a 2600. Moving over, we have some great looks at motion controls. The irony here is that, is this the year 2001? No, it's 1989, which means they weren't that far off in predicting, the whole motion control revolution. Interesting thing here, this is a really early picture of the Power Glove. It has sort of a wingtip design on the front of it, and clearly far less buttons than the actual Power Glove did. So there's an original look prototype version of the Power Glove, and that one apparently works. Over here we have the U-Force, which was Konami's attempt at motion control, and the kid was playing Punch-Out. Probably not well, because the U-Force was, that was Bronderbound's, not Konami's. Clearly knocked out Glass Joe, but that's not much of an accomplishment, even with the U-Force. Subscribe to GamePro magazine. 1 year, only $19. That's a whole 10% off the cover price. Great deal. We have the cards and an ad for one of the greatest games ever made, Super Dodgeball. Flipping over, we have a profile here from one of Taito's higher-ups, Alan Fetzer, Operation Wolf and Renegade, and some quips on the home market. A nice little interview there, certainly taking you way back. Moving over, hot at the arcades. Double Dragon 2 was just on its way, along with Narc up here from Williams. And down here we have Power Drift from Sega. Solid racing game, kind of underrated. Not very memorable, but still a solid title. Interesting thing about the first issue of GamePro. This is a review, at least in the way GamePro saw it. Clearly, up here it says ProView. But there's no review. There's no facial scoring system. There's no colors. There's no scoring system at all. In fact, it's basically just a rundown of the entire game. So as you get over here, that describes the end of the game and what you need to do, or just describing, what it is if they don't want to give out spoilers. It's very large text, plenty of images, and the pro tips were, of course, here. That was in the first issue. So it's interesting that the scoring system didn't come till later, and it's pretty much so iconic. You'll also notice that the reviewers up here do not have any IDs or, again, faces, anything like that. It's interesting because Electronic Games really did try back in the 80s to bring forth some legitimate journalism into gaming right off the bat. And GamePro was just, they didn't really pick on much. They did their own thing. When you review Bubble Bobble, it's awesome. Everything was awesome. It was very exciting right from the start. GamePro loved to excite gamers, especially a younger subset who were dominant back then. ProView of Adventure Island. Classic GamePro art right there. And some pro tips there if you need that. Shinobi, we're moving into the Sega section of the magazine. This is a review of Shinobi on the Master System, I believe. Again, great art there from GamePro. R-Type, also on the Master System. Great port of R-Type. Probably the turbo's a little bit better, but R-Type in the Master System was a solid version of the game. Got a whole 3-page spread, and then we got an ad over here. Coming soon from Bandai. We got Xevious, Galaga, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, James Rolfe forever made that game infamous with the Angry Video Game Nerd. We're into the Atari. We're into the 7800 with Desert Falcon. Surprisingly solid shooter. Certainly visually impressive for hardware that usually wasn't. Mario Brothers, Atari Mario Brothers, mind you, port of the arcade classic, not of the Nintendo NES variety. And Secret Weapons. This wasn't SWAT yet. SWAT was yet to be born. That would, again, come later and eventually get its own spin-off magazine that would be actually quarterly for a little while. And that would include all the tips that were in these types of sections from all the magazines, sort of combined into one. Tips for ice hockey. You can take out the goalies there if you ever want, of course. Life Force. Get your 30 free lives. Lots of tips. Very sparse layout. Some games don't even have images. They're just text, post-it looking type things. Overseas prospects. Super Mario 3 was yet to happen, folks. 1989, we had a long way to go. The Wizard, I don't believe, was even out yet. I think that was 1990. Excuse me. So, great preview here. Again, 3 whole pages, lots of stuff. Get the power to move with the acclaimed remote, which for the record, I believe I have, but the thing doesn't work, unfortunately. The receiver does not read it like it should. Pro News Report, we have some great news here. Again, 1989, great year, of course. Sega's got 20 new releases planned for 1989. Some great picks down there of CES from 1989. Short pro shots. We have, these are all your previews. Knight Rider, Airwolf for the NES, Wizards and Warriors 2, Three Stooges, Stealth Eagle, Predator, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Challenge Pebble Beach, The Guardian Legend, Mega Man 2 still on its way. Mega Man's legacy was not yet sealed. Strider, Kung Fu Heroes from Culture Brain. We have ad for GamePro Gear. Man, I want that hat. Unfortunately, I'm sure you can't send this card in anymore to get said hat. Also could have got t-shirts with the image from the first ever issue of GamePro. More games coming. Bad Dude still coming to the NES. It would have been in arcades at this point. Hoops, 2-on-2 basketball title, or maybe even 1-on-1. I'm not quite sure on that one. Been a long time. Goal, great soccer title. This is expanded into a franchise. Shadowgate Adventures of Bio Billy, unplayably bad, but still for some reason it's hung around. POW, which was great in the arcades. NES port was equally good. Fist of the North Star on the NES, and The Terminator. John Elway was just picking up, so you got John Elway's Quarterback coming soon. Ninja Gaiden still hasn't really hit yet. Just the arcade game existed at this point. Silkworm, what a great title that was. We have art over here. This is the interesting thing. This is kind of a section for artists, various artists, and readers to send in their art. The question is, how did they get art if this was the first issue? Same with kind of letters to the editors in certain first issues for magazines. You'll see. It's always a mystery. I'm sure there's a logical answer. I just don't have one. Oh, Ninja Turtles was still coming, and all of its devious challenges, bump and jump. New from Sega, Galaxy Force and Afterburner, and of course Altered Beast and Reggie Jackson Baseball. The Pro Challenge board, man, this it's brought back some memories. Some of these scores were absolutely freaking insane for the time. All tough stuff, and whoever AJF is, he's in here a lot, so clearly he had plenty of time on his hands back then. Rip into our next issue. Hot new previews, Ask the Pros, the Game Finder, lots of stuff planned. Of course, it would be a very long run for GamePro, ending on a ad for Tengen. So that's it. That is the first issue of GamePro. Pretty thin overall, certainly compared to what would come down the road in some of their holiday issues, which are 400 to 500 pages. If you're looking to get an issue yourself, you can find them, or on eBay and such. They go for around $40 to $50, depending on condition. You can tore up. Probably pretty cheap, but they're around. You can find them. You just got to pay a little extra for them. Most gaming magazines are relatively cheap. It's a great way to collect. You just got to know what you're looking for, and you got to have a little bit of cash to get those first couple issues, and then you're in the door. So, thanks for watching, and check out multiplayergames.com.